Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys my review of The Walking Dead Season 8, Episode 2. And I know I have a dog right under me, but the dog just wants to sit on my lap, and I can't really do anything about that. But, I got to get those views on YouTube, right? Animals get views, and got to get those views. All right, but let's talk about this episode of Walking Dead. Um, so this episode is called The Damned. And this episode came out on October 29th, 2017. Um, and pretty much, this episode, um, was really the main focus was each individual members of the militia going to different outposts and taking out different members of the Saviors. And I thought that was a pretty good storyline to have in the show. Like I said, I think right now with The Walking Dead, they're not really focusing on like any individual storylines. I've noticed it seems like it's just been kind of one big storyline, but they have done little storylines throughout this episode. It just seems like that they're not going to do any big storylines. Um, but I've been okay with overall. I do kind of wish we had a little bit more storyline in at the moment, but there's still we're only in episode 2 when there's 16 episodes in the season, so I'm overall okay with the fact that they're not going to do you know six that they're not going to do a big storyline because really the main focus should be to take out the Saviors. That's really should be the main focus of The Walking Dead. Molly, stop. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I normally do and talk about all these points where they went and took out the Saviors at different moments, all in one thing. Um, oh, I don't know who that is. Okay. So I'm gonna start off by talking about first. Well, first it kind of showed like from different like a close up of like different leaders of the group, kind of not leaders but different key characters that are gonna play a big part of this episode, like Rick, like Daryl, like Carol, like Ken Ezekiel, Tara, and Jesus. Um, but okay, yeah, yeah. And I kind of like that they did that. It kind of showed them like after the aftermath of when they went to take, oh, and Morgan too. I forgot to mention him. Of when they went to take out, the Saviors, which I liked. So then, yeah, Molly, I know. Let me do this video. Um, so then what happens is, I don't really know where to start. I guess I could start off with members of the militia go first to attack an outpost at of the Saviors, and the people that were there. Stop, Molly. The people that were there were that obviously the main characters were Tobin, Aaron, Eric, which is Aaron's partner, and they went and shot up you know that outpost. The leader of this group. Go get it. Go get it. It's over there. See? Look. No, right there. Look. Over there. Over there. Right here. Right here. Well, that didn't work. Oh, no. I guess it did. Now she's probably going to be barking at the window like she was on the Walking Dead review yesterday, but whatever. This is why I go unedited sometimes, because I like to kind of have that stuff that, you see outside about, showing that anything can happen when I do these videos. But anyhow, so like I was saying, the group leader was talking to like somebody in a walkie-talkie, and then the militia group invades. I do kind of like that they have the walls on the windows. I think that's very smart. It kind of covers up people's bullets and doesn't damage people's cars from when they, get shot at. Very smart. And they just get into pretty much a shootout. I think this probably was used obviously to take out members of the Saviors, but it was also used as a distraction, so that way Rick and Daryl could go inside. Because Rick and Daryl took out the people they were talking to in the walkie-talkie. So I thought that was a a nice. I thought that was a cool scene. But pretty much what happens is the leaders of this outpost is given each members of the Saviors instructions and orders about what certain things to do, and she realizes that they're not coming in; they're being cowards, so they're gonna try to draw them away, and then eventually she realizes that when she sees everybody starts to turn into a walker, they're not trying to lead them in. They're trying just to kill them, and they're going to use walkers to help them out. And then the leader ends up getting bit by a walker. And eventually, members of the militia group starts to get shot at. Tobin gets shot in the shoulder, and Eric wants to go defend him, and he needs somebody to cover him. And then eventually, Eric gets shot, and Aaron backs up one of the cars right into everybody, and he checks on Eric, and when he sees that Eric is starting to bleed out, so obviously he's concerned, and he helps him back. I actually like this gun scene. If I had to give it like an up or down or thumbs in the middle, I'll give it an up. It was good. Up. And then what I'm going to talk about next is the scene that went on when Jesus, Taylor, Morgan, and other members of the militia, because I don't really remember their names, went and attacked another outpost of the Saviors. And I love the new Morgan character right now. Like, I know I liked him before when he had that mentality where he didn't want to kill anybody, but now he's kind of like conflicted about it in a way, which I like. But the way that Morgan decides to go about this is he lures a bunch of walkers toward him by rattling the fence, and then a couple of the Saviors come over. Oh, she's back. A couple of the Saviors come over, and two members of the militia kill him, and then everybody goes in there, scours the place to check to see if there's any other members of the Saviors in there, and one of them is just shaken because he points his gun and he's shaken because I think he's just so afraid. Don't go over there and bark, please. So then when Morgan opens the door, they get shot at, and this causes them to get knocked out. This kills two of them, but Morgan ends up surviving it. Jesus and Taylor, but people keep, obviously other people, members of this group are killing members of the Saviors, and Jesus and Taylor go in there, and they hear somebody in the closet, and when he opens it up, we see one of the Saviors who's scared shitless, and we see that he's pissed his pants, and they tried to have Taylor be funny again by saying, "Oh, you pissed your pants." Oh, of course, my computer's gonna die because I didn't set this up ahead of time. Let me go get the charger, because I thought I could do this without the charger. This happens all the time, guys. You think that you can just do a video in one take, but you can't. Now the only thing I gotta hope for is that my charge is gonna reach, which is probably not gonna happen because I know I have that shitty type of luck. I'm trying to do this too because I'm using the USB webcam, and I know it doesn't like. I know that if I do it too sensitively, the whole thing will shut off. So. So I had to make a little. You fucking serious? Oh, gosh. Alright. I had to fix my adjustment here. I know this hasn't been the best video, but you know, when you have computers that need to be charged, and dogs that want to just have constant attention, you can't really control that. What I was talking about though was Teo and Jesus, like I said, go into like the food room, which is like where the chef's place. 'Cause I don't even know exactly where they are, but they were they're at an outpost. And the guy pissed his pants. And like I said, I don't really like it when Taylor tries to be funny, because that's what my computer tried to let me know that it was gonna die. And what happens is Jesus doesn't want to kill this guy because and Taylor does, obviously, because of all the shit that the saviors have done to her and all the people she's killed that were close to her. And Jesus says though that it's not about him. We're only here to kill one guy, and this guy we don't have a right to kill. So then Taylor's obviously upset about this, and eventually he reveals that Maggie's pregnancy pills were there. And then the savior holds Jesus at gunpoint, and Taylor threatens to shoot him. But obviously, oh, here comes Molly again. Then obviously, Jesus tells her try not to, and then eventually, Jesus gets the upper hand on him, beats him up. I think through the a big the shelf of food right on top of him, and then eventually Jesus has him at gunpoint, and he has to make a decision about whether or not he wants to kill him. And Jesus knocks him out with his gun and ties him up, and Jesus says that Maggie and stuff will hear him out about why I don't want to kill this guy. So obviously, I'm assuming that's going to lead to some further tension between Taylor and Jesus. So I'm okay with that. And then outside the outside the outpost, outside the outpost, Jesus and Taylor and everybody else, Jesus, I gotta go find the other members of the Saviors, and Jesus realizes, and Jesus calls it that, if they surrender, we don't fire at them, but if they fire at us, we'll fire at them. And Taylor is obviously not happy about this, and says that when I talk to Rick, he's gonna listen to me. So this is some sort of tension they're building between Jesus and Taylor. And one of the saviors comes out, just one of them with their gun, and Jesus forces him to drop it and surrender and put his hands up, and that's exactly what happens. And then the savior's like, okay guys, we're surrounded, no sense in trying to fight them. So all the other saviors come out and surrender. What I thought was going to happen was this was going to be a trick and someone was going to fire at them, but that's not what happened. And then Morgan finally comes to, and he starts killing all the rest of the members of the Saviors. And eventually what happens is he starts to kind of question himself and about question whether or not he wants to kill these people. And he starts having like flashbacks to that conversation that him and Rick had, and just all the other stuff that he said in the past about how all life is precious and stuff, and tries to go back to those old philosophies. And then when Morgan comes out there, he sees that everyone's surrendered, and Morgan sees one of the members of the Saviors that he's recognized from the last season and goes to kill him, but Jesus tells him that no, Morgan, this is not what we do. And then Morgan's like, well, then what do we do? And then the scene ends. So I kind of like this. I like that they had Morgan kind of question himself right here. I thought it was great. And then this whole scene gets an up. Um, but yeah, um, then going back to everything that happened with the other members of the militia, the kingdom side of things in a way with Ken Ezekiel, um, Jerry, Kalo, and all the other members of that group. Um, what happened is I forgot to mention in the last episode because what happened is because of the dogs were barking and everything. I forgot to. Um, last in the last episode, they tried shooting at a guy, but then he ended up escaping, and the car blew up. And now what they're worried about is that this member of the Savior is going to go back to the outpost and warn them about their arrival. And obviously they're going to realize that they're coming and they're going to be prepared for them. So they're trying to find this guy. Kale's obviously very concerned about it, but Ken Ezekiel really doesn't seem that concerned. So Ken Ezekiel says that he has faith that no matter what, they can beat the Saviors. We will win. Whether that means I have to die or you have to die. I thought he had kind of a pretty good speech there. But then they realize that the guy's starting to bleed because they find a trail of his blood. And I think eventually they find the guy, but then they kill him, and they find his walkie-talkie, and we find out that they're ready to come, that they're expecting their arrival. So, and no, the tiger kills him, Shiva. And the rest of the members of the kingdom pop up, and King Ezekiel says, "We're gonna take the fight to them, and we're gonna win." And he got like raises his sword, kind of like that brave knight leader that you normally would see. I thought, the fuck. Sorry about that, guys. What happened? Oh, here she comes again. But what happened is my computer died, and I have to edit this into another video. So I'm trying to remember where I left off. I think the last place I left off was the part with the kingdom. I get pissed because had I known I could have just edited all that stuff out, I would have. But I didn't because I thought I could do this all in one take. Don't do that, please, Molly. Don't piss me off. And then I tried to do another take, and she kept stomping on my chest, and I got pissed and ended that take because I was just getting pissed. All right, so I think the only thing I really didn't talk about was the stuff that went on with Rick and Dale. So Rick and Dale are trying to find guns because they want to make sure the Saviors can't get to them, and kill off that herd of walkers that they lured towards them. Which I'm assuming, even if they don't have the guns, that they will anyways. But obviously, we'll have to wait and see. So Rick and Dale are trying to Rick and Dale are trying to find them. And what happens is they split up. Rick goes upstairs and he gets attacked by somebody, and they get into a fight. They exchange punches. Rick headbutts him, and he puts him into like a sleeper hold. And he keeps asking where the guns are, and then he looks into one of the doors, and Rick thinks that the guns are in there. So what happens is Rick, there was a hanger, and Rick stabs him in the right through the head of the hanger, which I thought was a good scene. And like the shape of his head was like in the shape of the hanger, and it looked like a cool shape, I thought. So, but then when Rick goes in there to see if there's guns, he finds out he had a daughter that was in there. So that's why he was looking in there. And Rick felt bad. We found out the daughter's name was Gracie, and obviously Rick felt bad that he kept killing him off, that he killed her father. But I thought that was a good scene there. And then what happens is Rick is still scouring for guns, and then another savior holds Rick at gunpoint, forces him to turn around. And who do we see that it is? None other than I don't know how you say his name. Morales. I think that's how you say it, but I might be wrong. And that's how I'm gonna say it. And Rick remembers him because because this was the first guy that Rick kind of met with that whole group that saved him from that herd of walkers. Back in Atlanta, and yeah, he's devoted his services to Negan, and he's manipulated by Negan now. And that was pretty much the end of the episode. Now, Morales, if you don't remember, I'll say, because that took me a while to remember who he was, but I'm assuming a lot of people probably forgot who he was. He was there in the way beginning. Like, he was there back in season 1, and I had to look up who he was, because I really kind of didn't remember who he was, but this was the like that group. He was with the original group way back in the beginning. Um, and originally, when they were going to go to the CDC to try to find a cure, him and his wife wanted to go see if they had any more family around. So they went and did their own thing. So yeah, I kind of find it interesting that they met up again. I never thought we were going to see this guy again, mainly because I forgot who he was. But he's back. And overall, I'm okay with that. I kind of like that they kind of brought him back, and I think it's pretty cool. And it's kind of funny that now he's a savior now, so that's kind of funny how that works out. Um, so yeah, after the episode even kind of went off the air, it kind of shows a close up again of all the characters after all this stuff has happened. So I like this, and it was good. And that was pretty much this episode of Walking Dead. So I like this pup. This will get it up. I really didn't give it any downs. What I will give it down to is it kind of felt like this. It feels like this Walking Dead season at now. Is it kind of? It's not really lazily being done, but it's kind of going through the motions and kind of you know, this kind of feels like that there's really not really much storyline going on. And while I think there's little storylines going on, it just kind of feels like that the episodes really don't have a lot of depth behind them at the moment. So hopefully that will change because right now I think season 8's been pretty okay so far. I mean, I really can't judge the season. There's only been like 2 episodes, but whatever. Overall, I enjoyed this episode. I thought it was good. It gets a 7 out of 10, which is a C. And I really don't have anything left to say about it. I'm sorry if this video was very sloppy, but I can't control computers wanted to die and animals wanted attention. You saw that I was getting pissed. It was much worse in the outtake that I deleted off the computer. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.